I have played over 100 hours of Monster Hunter Wilds, and I want to give you my honest opinion on it today. For everyone that doesn't have much time, long story short, it's great and I love it. There, you can click off now. But for everyone that wants a little bit more depth to the opinion, here we go. So the base roster of Wilds has been one of the most interesting and diverse base rosters we've seen from a Monster Hunter game. We have the stock standard brute wyverns, flying wyverns, bird wyverns, that sort of thing. Which frankly I think needs to be in every Monster Hunter to make it feel like a Monster Hunter game. But we have a few monsters in the roster that are very standout monsters that make the whole experience feel a little bit more diverse, which I appreciate. Monsters like New Udra and Zulu really shake things up, and I quite like that. I think what my favorite monster from this game is actually New Udra. I love the design. Personally, I love octopuses. I think they're just a really cool animal, and to see a apex predator that is an octopus squid-like monster is just really cool to me. I really enjoy its design and the way it fights. Zulu is just so interesting. It's so ugly. It's so disgusting, but it's just so cool at the same time. I really like that. It's very interesting fighting these tentacle monsters because they don't have any similarities in moveset to anything else, which makes things fresh. It feels fresh, you know what I mean? For instance, a lot of monsters in previous games shared some moves, and that would make things feel a little bit more stale when fighting different monsters. But if you think of Tigrex and you think of Barioth, and then you think of Rathian and Rathalos, they do share some moves or like similar moves that can feel samey very quickly. So having these monsters sprinkled in really keeps things fresh for me. I'd say another standout is Ajarakan as well. His moveset is very unique and I quite like the way he fights. I think he's a really fun fight and a very good new addition at that. Jin Dahad is just so fun for me. I enjoy the fact that we had a large Leviathan monster pretty early on in low rank, even if it was a repel quest, and then being able to fight him and slay him in the later quests is just so fun. I think he is a really cool fight, and again, it breaks up the normal hunting loop where you have to fight him a little bit differently. Small mechanics, nothing too amazing, but small mechanics to keep the fight fresh and make it feel grand. I really like that. Even the fresh takes on types of monsters we've already fought before is really nice. The most obvious example of this that comes to mind straight away is Ray Dow. Now, Ray Dow is just a flying wyvern, but his moveset is so unique to him that you forget he's just another flying wyvern. He's his own monster, you know what I mean? He really does stand out as his own monster with the head railgun and the almost sword-like appendages on his wings that he uses to grind through the ground and stab at you. It is really fun to fight him, and I think he has a very cool and flashy moveset. And of course, the flagship Arkveld has his moveset is just so cool. The chain-like appendages on his wings are just amazing, and it makes for a very grand and aggressive fight with him, and I really appreciate that. As a lance user, he's so fun to fight. The countering back and forth, the little dance we do, it's just too fun every single time. Now, the gameplay has evolved significantly from World. I would usually say Rise, but I would say Rise is on a different line. I would say this is more of a spiritual successor to World, even though Rise did come out later than World. But yeah, in terms of gameplay, this game just blows it out of the park. Wilds really is a 10 out of 10 for gameplay. The combat was always amazing, but it had a lot of jank sprinkled in here and there. In this game, all jank has just been thrown out the window. Kits have been updated to feel smooth, have a very nice flow, and of course the addition of focus mode makes every move you do feel way more precise. The fact that you can redirect your attacks anywhere is just such an amazing change, and it makes combat feel so much more satisfying. I've seen a lot of people complain about focus mode in the sense of, oh, now I can redirect a greatsword true charge slash, or now I can fully 360 a SAED from a charge blade. And I honestly think to myself, this is not a bad thing whatsoever. This does not take any skill away from the player. You still have to work on your monster knowledge, you still have to work on your positioning as a whole. So I think the focus mode in redirecting and aiming your attacks is completely fine and honestly makes things a lot more fun. So with the addition of being able to aim your attacks, as well as all of the weapon kits and movesets being updated to feel more flowy, things just feel amazing. They feel responsive, they feel more anime than you've ever felt before in a Monster Hunter game. In my opinion, at least. There was the slightest hint of awkwardness to the gameplay and the combat in previous Monster Hunter titles, but here, it's just non-existent. Everything just feels so good. And not to mention that the monsters' movesets and their aggression level definitely matches what the player can do. Even though we feel more powerful than ever, we can 360 our attacks and aim them wherever, the monsters feel like they are more alive than ever. They jump around more. They're more aggressive. Old monsters have a couple new moves here and there to make them feel more fresh and feel like they're with the times. I think in Wilds, the dance between hunter and monster is more aggressive and more responsive than ever. I really do love the combat and I love the gameplay in Wilds. It's just absolutely amazing. Now the visuals for me are a 10 out of 10. I know on PC there's been a lot of issues with how the game looks and how the game runs, but I play on console, and let me just say, other than one or two little frame rate skips that I've had during my entire time playing, the game has looked and ran beautifully. From the huge details like the incredible weather effects to the small details like endemic life, everything just looks top notch. I really enjoy how monsters act when they don't know you're there or when they're going about their business. It makes the world feel alive and feel full. I love how the weather changes when you take down an apex monster of that region. I'll never forget when I was on one of my first double monster hunts and I actually took down a Duna and the whole weather changed. The rain stopped, the clouds dissipated, the sky opened up, and it was a sunny day all of a sudden. And I just thought, this is just fucking beautiful. And it's not just the graphics themselves and the weather effects themselves, it's also the monsters. Fighting a Ray Dow and seeing him charge up that mega head cannon railgun for the first time, that shit was, yeah, absolute cinema. That shit looks amazing. And again, it's not just the monster attacks either, it's your attacks. New effects have been added. New camera angles have been added. I'm sure everyone has done it or at least seen a clip of it. New Udra does his flamethrower and someone with a blocking weapon just happens to block through it for the first time and the camera pans and you feel like you're just taking on the entire flamethrower yourself while blocking it and creating a cone behind you. That shit is so good. Little things like that sprinkled throughout the game make you feel so strong, so powerful. It's just an epic experience all around. The visuals really sell you on the power fantasy of fighting these monsters, taking down these large behemoths. They really sell you on the fact that your hunter is him or her. They really are that hunter. They are powerful. And don't get me started on the entire Zoshia fight. The entire Zoshia fight was cinema. That thing is so epic in the way that it attacks you, the way that it transforms, the way that you slowly peel away its outer shell. The visuals in this game, oh my god, they're just too good. Now let's talk about the amount of content in the game. I've put 120 hours into the game, and I've still been finding more things to do. Now I stream the game and play it every single night, so I know that I'll have less to do in a quicker time than someone who just plays for like a couple hours a week, or maybe only an hour a night, or something like that. So from my perspective, if I've put in 120 hours and I'm still finding things to do, I think that's a really good amount of content. I basically finished all of high rank and low rank within 100 hours. I would say, around 90 hours, which is really, really good. I also took my time with it. I was hunting a lot of things in between doing main story quests. I was doing other random hunts for fun, creating a lot of armors, testing out builds, all that sort of thing. So I feel like if you really hunkered down and got to the game and just did story quests, nothing else, you'd probably get it done in around 50 hours. And 50 hours of your time for 110 bucks, it's not too bad, especially when you know that title updates are coming out and there's going to be a lot more content coming in the future. I would consider all of low and high rank early game. I know that sounds weird, where is the late game? But knowing how Monster Hunter games operate, this is all just early game and basically a little teaser and basically it's almost the training wheels for Master Rank or G Rank. Nothing was meant to be overly hard. Nothing was meant to be a huge challenge. But there are some challenges in there sprinkled around, not many, just for us people that like a decent challenge. I would say late game, in quotation marks, right now, is any tempered 5-star monster. Arkveld, Raydal, Uthduna, New Udra, Gormagala. If you haven't carded in your entire playthrough, I can guarantee you that you will card to a tempered 5-star monster the first time you fight it. They have a lot more health, they do crazy amounts of damage, and they are a lot more aggressive as well. I've been trying to speedrun Gormagala. My best time on a 5-star tempered Gormagala is around 7 minutes. And my best time on a normal Gore is 3.5. It's literally double. They are completely different monsters almost. You know what I mean? The difficulty is ramped up to 11 when you put a 5-star tempered monster in the mix. So for now, that is enough challenge for me, because I know that if this is how it feels in high rank, then I couldn't imagine how G rank is going to feel with 5-star tempereds. There is going to be some crazy walls. Now for, I guess you could say for base game, the post-game content after this late game 5-star tempered type shit is the Artian weapon farming. Now, Monster Hunter has always been a game where you have something like this at the end. You just farm for RNG weapons or RNG parts, talismans, whatever, to kind of pad out the experience and have things for you to do that can be reoccurring before you get title updates, before you get G rank and all that sort of thing. For me personally, I don't mind the Artian farming. I know a lot of people aren't really into it. I don't really mind. I think it's the better RNG grind we've gotten in the last few games. It's way better than the talisman and the anomaly farming of Rise, and it's way better than the Kulve to Roth farming of Base World. I say that because you get a lot of relics from double quests. Double tempered quests at least. So it doesn't feel like you have to wait years and farm a lot before you can get a new Artian weapon. And you can really choose, and there's a lot of diversity in what you can farm. So all the apexes, and then they can all come with a secondary monster. I don't think it really matters what secondary monster it is, as long as it is a tempered apex or a tempered Arkveld, and you will get yourself the best, rarity 8 relics and stuff like that. I usually hate fucking with RNG. And again, I don't really like it here. I've never liked RNG type of stuff, but what I like about this is that it's not fully necessary. If you're not a speedrunner, if you're not, someone who does optimal things, it's completely unnecessary. For most of the weapon types, you can just use an Arkveld weapon, and that's slightly worse in some circumstances than an Artian weapon, so it really doesn't matter. It's not that necessary. The Artians only beat out an Arkveld weapon in terms of slots, which I personally like. I like having better slots, and only if the rolls are good. If your rolls aren't good on an Artian weapon, you can still just use an Arkveld one, and it's like a couple seconds on the hunt. It's not the biggest difference in the world. And right now, for some weapon types, say for instance Gunlance, Artian weapons aren't even the best. They're not the most meta or the most optimal. At the end of the day, you use what you like, what you have fun with, and whatever weapon you think is great for you. It doesn't matter. So that is something I really appreciate. They're there and you can do it, but they're not necessary. Overall, late game, early game, post game, whatever game, I think it's all nice and well rounded, and I think it's all fun and engaging. I'm excited for the future of this game. The future of this game is looking very, very bright. From what we have in the base game, and knowing that it can only go up from here, just makes me absolutely elated. The fact that these monsters are so cinematic in low and high rank, G rank's gonna be crazy. This has the potential to be the biggest Monster Hunter game yet, and I am hoping that by the end of this game's life cycle, it will be as big, if not bigger, than GU. Now, we all know GU was one of the biggest Monster Hunter games ever. The insane amount of weapons, armor, the monster roster was absolutely massive, and I really think Wilds has the potential to be that big. Even if it comes close to it, I'll still be very, very happy. So all in all, honestly, I am so excited for the life cycle of this game. I think right now this game is honestly a 10 out of 10 for me. Actually, I would say a 9 out of 10. There are some gripes here and there. I know that I've said to myself, oh, I don't really like this, or I don't really like that. I can't think of them all off the top of my head because the good outweighs the bad in every single way. I think one bad thing I could say, if I really had to pick apart this game and really nitpick, was the optional quests. So a few of my homies have completed all the optional quests. I've got like 3 more to do. They're just like small monster quests. They didn't receive anything for doing all the optionals. Usually in a Monster Hunter game, you receive a special quest or you receive a new name tag or something like that for completing all the optionals. Here, they didn't receive anything, so I guess I could nitpick there. But yeah, all in all, I'm absolutely so happy with the game. I'm absolutely loving it. I think it's money well spent, and I will continue to support this game and play this game through its entire life cycle. I absolutely love it. And that is it for now. Thank you everybody for listening to my yap sesh. Yes, I have no life the game and put over 100 hours into it. If you like my opinion, like the video. If you don't like my opinion, dislike the video. Again, it is just my opinion at the end of the day, and I just really love this game, and I wanted to tell you guys about my experience with it and what I thought of it after 100 hours. I want to thank all my members on the channel. I want to thank all the people that have been supporting me over this time. And as always, have a good day, have a good night, stay safe, take care, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya.